Way now, welcome to Fitz's Electric Bar. Don't think this lighting is particularly flattering, but what can you do? You can only work with the subject you're given, right? Recently, I did a video which was music I like to listen to when people have left the house, and it tended to be short, sharp shocks, a lot of singles, and rock and roll, man. So this one is about long tracks. I'm not one, again, to rank things very much because I've just randomly sort of sat down over the last week and picked out some of my favorite or lengthy tracks that I really like. So what is it about a long track, a long song, that can pay real dividends? One of them to me is that the song goes on a journey. It might open up and it be quite quiet, and then it goes into sort of an exploration and maybe comes back to quiet again, but builds into something quite powerful or different and goes through many different twists and turns in terms of the music interplay and things like that. So that could be one part of it. Another part of it could be creating an atmosphere that extends. So you think about ambient music, something that just it's you don't want it to end after 4 or 5 minutes. You want the thing to go on for 10, 20, 30 minutes so that you could maintain that atmosphere that's been created by the music. Unsurprisingly, probably jazz is well represented in the longer tracks. I'm kind of defining longer tracks, and this is very arbitrary, as something 10 minutes or over. In many cases, these would be one side of a record. In some cases, it would be one of a few tracks on a side of a record, but again, 10 minutes in length. So why don't we jump in, shall we? First one I'm going to choose is David Bowie's Station to Station, the title track, coming in just a shade over 10 minutes, 10:08. And that great intro, the train kind of chugging away. And again, that, like I was saying earlier, it's got that sort of slow build. It kind of like you can feel it building in intensity. And then it gets kind of a little bit manic. It's too late to go home again, and just the fabulous vocals, and it speeds up. I don't know, maybe it was the Coke. But David Bowie's title track off of Station to Station, 1976 release. It's a great long track and a great journey. Another one kind of more in the rock, soul, psychedelic vein would be Funkadelic and Maggot Brain. The title track of that. Look at those guys. So the intro with the vocal, I'm assuming it's George Clinton, but Mother Earth has got pregnant. Eddie Hazel's guitar work is just exquisite. Starts off really, really quiet, and it just increases in intensity. So Maggot Brain, if you know it, you know what I'm talking about. Another one that I've been playing over and over and over again off of And Then Nothing Turned Itself Inside Out, Yo La Tengo. And the track is the last track here, Night Falls on Hoboken. So I believe that the band, or Georgia and Ira, are from Hoboken, New Jersey. And that particular track is a full side, 17 minutes and 41 seconds. It really is a journey. It starts off really, really quiet. It's very gentle, very beautiful. And it doesn't get crazy the way a lot of Yo La Tengo music can get crazy. And sometimes that's a great thing. And sometimes it's a little too atonal for my taste. But this actually stays really quite beautiful. But it does these little phase things. It does some really interesting echoey bits. And it definitely takes you on a journey. It's just a fabulous song. It's just one that I feel is a great way to spend 17 minutes and 41 seconds. So Night Falls on Hoboken, Yo La Tengo. Next up, we go to the jazz and Miles Davis, In a Silent Way. I think of this as a full piece. I mean, you could argue that this actually is a good one to have on CD. In many cases, some of these things that run the full record, as it were, it's nice to have it unbroken by not having to get up and flip over the side. And In a Silent Way is like that. There's 2 tracks. So, I mean, one's for side rich and peaceful in a silent way, and it's about that time. Either side, just fabulous. But I would look at this as a whole record. Such a great piece of music to put on, and really, in many ways, to me, ambient jazz. It's got kind of a real ambient quality to it. You know that I'm a Grateful Dead fan, and you know that if it's a long track, that I'm going to have to put some Grateful Dead on. I thought about Terrapin Station, but I don't love the production on that, the studio recording of the song Terrapin Station. So, and then there's just so much to choose from when you think about Grateful Dead canon, and a lot of them are medleys of things that flow from one to the other. But I'm going to choose off of this record, this outstanding record, one from the vault, Grateful Dead, August 13th, 1975. This was the year that they were retired. They thought that they may not come back and play 1 year after the experience of touring with the Wall of Sound and all of the costs and the hassles that brought about to bring a great sound system to every place they played. This is a really, really nice record. And you can see the invitation. I don't know if that's how it actually was presented, if people were invited to it, but the Grateful Dead cordially invites you to a rare and important musical performance at the Great American Music Hall on O'Farrell Street, August 13, 1975. The track I'm going to pick, Eyes of the World, goes into drums, but I've always really loved Eyes of the World. This one's got some killer Phil Lesh bass lines, just some lovely guitar work, lots of space, like between the instruments. There's just so much room in how they're all playing, so you can really enjoy, different aspects of how the instruments weave in and out of each other. Eyes of the World into drums, Grateful Dead. And another jazz one. This came out in a box, which I actually have the box, and I do recommend it. It seems like they must have overstocked this, because in Canada you can get the box now for I think about $70 new, and it includes the I don't know if it's been remastered, but a re-release of Pharoah and the Pharoah Sanders record. The track on side one, Harvest Time, 20 minutes, 24 seconds. Anybody who came to Pharoah Sanders a little bit later, like he's got a lot of long tracks in his canon. You think about The Creator Has a Master Plan off of Karma, and even the work that he does with Floating Points more recently. So I think with this one, Harvest Time, it starts off very quiet. There's a certain kind of repetition to the music. It's very languid, very calming, I find. Lovely to listen to. I think for some jazz purists, they consider this to be a little bit too, I don't know what they might say, wallpaper, or maybe not challenging or dynamic the way a lot of jazz records can be. I tend to really enjoy the more melodic stuff, and maybe the things that you can kind of sit with a little bit more that don't necessarily challenge you as much. But this is a really good record. And then the box comes with another record, which includes Harvest Time, 2 different recordings of Harvest Time live, done in 1977. So this is the regular record, and then these live ones. And the live ones are really good. I prefer the studio, but what's interesting is the performances of the live, like the live performances are actually quite different. They're not just kind of like the same live performance. There's definitely a difference between the two of them. And so it's a really nice package, and there's lots of little ephemera, some cards and some flyer for some of the shows, and some very good liner notes. So if you're inclined and you like Pharoah Sanders, I would say grab that while it's still, a reasonably inexpensive purchase. Okay, now I'm going to go on to a few CDs that I don't have on vinyl. One that I thought I had on vinyl, but somehow I don't seem to. Bob Dylan's Knocked Out Loaded. You could probably find many Dylan fans, and I might be one of them as well, that would consider this to be one of his least great records, shall we say, is maybe one of his weaker performances. Some don't like the gospel born again period, especially Saved, and some don't like Shot of Love. I actually really like that period. This Knocked Out Loaded, it's okay. But the track is Brownsville Girl, co-written with Sam Shepard, the playwright. And lyrically, it's great. It's just this wonderful, rambling story. I can't say I really fully understand, but when you listen to it, you go on a journey, and there's stuff happening, and the way that the characters interact with each other, and it's really beautiful. And the chorus is really nice as well. So Brownsville Girl, Bob Dylan, and Sam Shepard. So you've got to have an ambient selection in all of this, given that I think a lot of ambient stuff is fairly lengthy. And of course, you go to really one of the founders of ambient music would have to be Brian Eno. And so this particular CD, Thursday Afternoon, I remember when it was released and it came included in with some visuals. I think there was a VHS tape that you could get as well with these shifting visuals. But Thursday Afternoon, I'll just read you the part of the liner notes that I think describes it pretty well. Compositionally, Thursday Afternoon belongs to the family of works which also includes discrete music and music for airports. Like them, it is an even-textured, spacious, and contemplative piece in which several musical events appear and recur more or less regularly. Each event, however, recurs with a different cyclical frequency, and thus the whole piece becomes an unfolding display of unique sonic clusters. Eno's intention with these pieces is that they should function as tapestries, large-scale, non-intrusive atmospheres which lend a consistent mood to the environments in which they are heard. Just another great piece of ambient music from the master Brian Eno, Thursday Afternoon. And this is one track, and it runs 61 minutes. So I don't know. It might be available on vinyl, but obviously it would have to be split up. And finally, this last selection is a track by an artist named Les McCann. He's been getting some of his material re-released. Layers just came out recently. He's probably best known for the live composition and the great YouTube video of him with Eddie Davis doing the song Compared to What, which is just a great rave up, high energy performance, and well worth a view. So Compared to What, Eddie Davis and Eddie Harris and Les McCann. But this record I heard about through a Grateful Dead thread on dead.net, and somebody was talking about loving this record and playing it. And so, the audience, the people who are going to be on dead.net conversation threads probably love their jams. They love long journeys of music. The song, The Lovers, that's the one that, for me, it's a whole side, and it is it is the epitome of a journey. It opens up very, very quiet. It builds beautifully. It gets into these great rhythmic kind of interplays. It really builds beautifully. It brings it back down again. It builds and becomes even more intense. And it is a really exquisite piece of music. I don't know exactly how long the track is, but again, it's a whole side of a record. I'm waiting for this to get this on vinyl because I really want to have this on vinyl. But the album is called Invitation to Openness. So you can imagine kind of the consciousness raising opportunities that would come with this record. And the track is The Lovers. That's it. Long songs that pay dividends. That pay dividends. Carpe diem, motherfuckers.